Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are here for another one of your questions about work. And I'll just say, um, we often do subjects that are timeless, but sometimes something is so timely that we just have to talk about it. I was on the Twitter space, for those of you who follow me earlier today, with Bloomberg Opinion folks talking about Facebook becoming Meta. And so for those of you who are here for the first time, I'm Roy. I'm a startup investor in the future of work. And today, we are here with Jessica Malaty Rivera, who is an epidemiologist and also advising Netflix on their return infection prevention stuff. If you could help me get that right. And so, Jessica, the question that we have today, and thank you so much for being here, is we're going back to work. Many of us are, being asked to go back into an office. What are the best practices while there's still a pandemic going on there on staying healthy?
Yeah, so I kind of have this culture bias of living in the Bay Area where a lot of the tech companies have kind of set a new precedent of delaying return to work even further, a lot of times into 2022. That obviously is kind of a, welcome relief for a lot of folks as they wait for colleagues and their communities to become more vaccinated. If you don't have that luxury, if you're not in the kind of world that I live in or in other big cities like New York, for instance, that have kind of similar policies, I think that there are a couple really important things to consider as we return to work. Number one is making sure that people feel like they have all the resources they need to make the informed choices that they need to make about their personal health. Because when we show up to work, we don't show up neutral, right? When we show up, we've got to think about our personal health, our family's health, and the health of people around us in those offices. And so I would like for companies to provide opportunities for people to get vaccinated, whether that's taking time off to do that and time off to recover. I would like to see companies have really kind of clear syndromic kind of surveillance. If people feel sick, that they know that they have the opportunity to use sick leave to not show up. I was talking to some of your colleagues earlier, and I think that we need to kind of shed that pre-COVID obsession with, I'm so committed to work, I'm so dedicated to work that I'm going to show up with 102 fever. I think we praised people who never took sick leave, and I think we praised companies who had, so many consistent days of everybody showing up, and I think that time is over. I think that we need to be valuing people's health more.
So I love the connection to the role that work plays in our identity, that we need to take into account kind of our holistic experience, including our physical health. My sense is that some folks who watch are going to say, like, man, I really hope I don't work at a company where they don't encourage me to take a sick day if I get sick. So let's now take it a step further, which is, let's say you've covered all the basics. You give employees time off for vaccination, you encourage them to go home, you're doing the regular screening for, symptoms. Bloomberg, for example, if you go into the office as you walk in, does a weekly COVID test, and you have to, on a daily basis, I think, do an assertion of not having symptoms. Like, it almost feels like getting on a plane every time.
Yeah.
And so if a company has covered the basics, then for somebody who leads a team, but maybe not a company, or just an employee, what else should they be doing, if anything? Then just go in and shake everybody's hands and give them big hugs?
I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. So how do you advise people as individuals once the basics have been handled?
Yeah. We're still very much in the middle of a pandemic, and we're still very much dealing with this highly transmissible variant, Delta. And as a result, it means that certain activities, even being vaccinated, are considered high risk, and that is typically considered indoor activity for prolonged periods of time. So I am of the more risk averse kind of persuasion in epidemiology, and I have encouraged folks to, if you're going to be indoors with other people, regardless of vaccination status, I would keep your mask on. I would make sure that you're wearing a mask that covers your face properly, that covers your nose and your cheeks and your mouth and your chin, preferably a KN95 mask that is comfortable to wear for multiple hours. And I would spend as much time outdoors as possible if you can work from outdoors, and just avoid kind of being indoors with a number of people for too long. I think that's probably one of the best kind of tactical ways to be back in person.
Awesome. I love that. Any parting thoughts before we go?
No, but I think that this is going to be a learn in progress, group project for all of us. I think that there's going to be some bumps. I mean, I know a number of companies here in San Francisco started, and then they had to retract and send everybody home again because there were outbreaks. And I think we'll be seeing that. And I don't think that those are failures.
For the rest of time, right?
Yeah, we are learning as we go. I'm hoping that more people get vaccinated so that we can kind of all drop our shoulders a bit and feel more comfortable in those settings that are considered high risk.
How do you feel about corporate vaccine mandates?
I feel great about them, but that is a controversial opinion.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking is to, and the reason we call this is not advice is you're not telling folks, well, in your case, you actually have the expertise to give medical public health advice, but you're not sitting here telling people, I know exactly what policy you should have. You're offering your own perspective on what you think is the right thing to do.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And if folks want to follow Jessica, she's active on Instagram, also on Twitter, and to be continued. Thank you for this.
Thanks, Roy.